Hey everyone, my name's Michael, and I was asked to kind of show you around what it's like to work in a creative field, particularly in music. There's a lot of different types of jobs you can have in music. You can be in the business, music industry, you could be a promoter, you could be in marketing, you could be, the person who picks up the guitar or the mic and actually creates the music, or you can be what I do, and that is an audio engineer. I deal with every part of creating music that isn't the actual writing and performing of it. So I work in a recording studio, setting up microphones, working with bandmates and musicians that come in and recording their music during a recording session and working with them to craft the ideal sound of their song through the mixing and mastering process after the recording is already done. I'm going to play some of my pieces that I've done before and kind of talk a little bit about the recording session and also show some photos of what a recording studio setup kind of looks like um, in during a recording session. The first piece I'm going to play for you today is Keep on Dancing by Read the Credits. This was a hip hop record label that I worked with in producing a collaborative album of everyone on the label, kind of pitching in and creating everything. It was all produced in house by the label, except for the recording stage where they reached out to me to record them um, and help put them out. So this song's kind of the only song I can really play from the album, but it was a very fun experience. You know, it was a really good uh, piece of my portfolio for my career. So I wanted to show it off. This is a bit of more of a dancey piece. None of this was actually recorded in a studio. This was all sent to me from the producer, and it was actually I worked with the producer pretty much remotely of this particular track. So that's one thing about being an audio engineer, especially in this time of you know the world where you can work with people from all over, just from the comfort of your own home or your own recording studio. So I'm going to go ahead and play this for you guys.
Just keep on dancing. Just, just keep on dancing. Just, just keep on dancing. Just keep on dancing. Just keep on dancing. Just keep on. Just keep on. Just keep on. Dancing.
Great. So there you go. As you can tell, it's very much electronic and kind of sampled work, which is always fun to work with. But what's also fun is being able to work in the same space as the musicians and the people helping produce the track, and working with them and being in a physical space with them and kind of the vibe of it all. Like the other recording sessions I did on this, it was a lot of fun to be with all the different vocalists and just kind of watch them all feed off of each other in the recording studio to make like a really solid project and release for their record label to kind of start getting their name out there. um Next up, I'll play a this song from Trackstar. This is more of a kind of rock indie title. Since I recorded with them in the studio in person, I was able to work with them on the sound that they want, and through their equipment and the pedals that they were using on their guitar and the stuff that I was doing in the recording studio booth, we were able to really nail down their style and kind of have that back and forth collaboration effort. Because while this is a very technical job, as you'll see in the photos, you'll see kind of the setup and the gear that you use. It's a very creative job as well. and you kind of get to make a lot of creative choices and artistic choices as an audio engineer. Um, and you are really kind of a an extra bandmate for everyone that you bring in, because your sound does get kind of imprinted on each project that you work on.
You deserve to know how I feel. Wanna tell you now. I never knew a love could be this real. You showed me how. You deserve to know how I feel, babe. Wanna tell you now. That baby, you're all I need. You saw things in a way I couldn't see. Baby, you're all I need. Finally, it's all so clear to me. Oh, baby, you're all I need. 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 Oh, baby, you're all I need. 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 Oh.
Great. So as you can see, it's a lot more upbeat, a lot more fun. I'm sure you guys can imagine, kind of being in the recording studio and listening to that being made. A lot of good energy. It's fun just to be in those environments and, be able to be a part of that creative process and, really get their music from their head and what, their fingers are doing on the guitar and the bass and the drums into something that you can, pull out your phone and show someone. Um, it's really humbling to be a part of that experience. And, no matter how much, it pays and how much you make it your career, that's always going to be a highlight of it. Next up, I think I'm only going to play one more piece for time's sake. I'm going to play Flavor Town by Running for Cover. Again, this is very upbeat, and as you're going to see here, a lot of different genres that you get exposed to as an audio engineer. You can specialize in one genre for sure, but if you're working in a recording studio that sees all types of different clients, you're going to see a lot of different music. You're going to be exposed to so much of what the musical world has to offer. So yeah, as you can hear, really different styles, really different sonic qualities. The drums in one don't sound like the drums in another. The bass in one doesn't sound like the bass in another. You really gotta, as an audio engineer, you gotta use your creative mind and your ear and really like think about, what does this style of music call for? How should this sound? What are the expectations there? And try and, meet them, but also still express, what the musicians want, and what you feel like sounds like a good choice there. So I'm going to move on to some photos. If you don't mind. Um, Here's what a typical recording studio board looks like, and I know it's a little bit overwhelming, but your job as an audio engineer is to know what each one of those knobs do, and to be, when you move one, to know what you're doing and why you're doing it. You know, you should never be moving anything just because you think that's the way it should be, or without understanding why you're moving it. Really, you shouldn't just be blindly following what other people do. Again, you should be really make your own style as an audio engineer, and really, tune in and understand the changes that you're making to the music and how it affects them. Here's some mic setup. Uh, the instruments aren't in there, but you can kind of see what a typical, mic setup might be. Use multiple mics on one instrument so that you can blend between the two and get different sounds. Or, if one mic doesn't sound good, you at least have a backup and you don't lose that take. And I think this was for a saxophone and a trumpet. Yeah, because this board is from that recording session. And as you can see, there's a little bit more going on. And, again, just, kind of really understanding what you're doing there, and the mix that you want to do, and how to set that all up is really all about being an audio engineer. um, this is a photo from a live concert that I was able to be a part of, and live music is really different from recording studio music. I didn't play you any live music that I recorded. There's one on that page, but for the sake of time I cut it. And it's, it's a different beast. Live music, you get one shot, one take. You can't ask them to do it again, because at that point the audience is leaving and the musicians are tired. They've probably been performing for an hour or hour and a half in some of these concert situations. You don't really want to ask everyone to stay over. you know Live, you get one shot. Recording studio, you get multiple takes, and you can go back and edit all you want. So it's really kind of about the workflow that you prefer. Here's another shot from it. As you can see, a lot of mics, and there's a lot more mics that aren't pictured in here. Here's some more mics on a drum kit in a recording studio that I was in a session that I helped run. And really, as an audio engineer, you're really going to try to be making your own sonic quality. And that really comes down to the mics that you choose and where you place them, and really getting that kind of characteristic. And again, understanding why you're choosing a mic and why you're placing it there, not just placing it there and calling it a day, but really kind of experimenting around and seeing what works for you. Here's a singer-songwriter that I recorded, and as you can see, again, multiple mics for to choose from at different positions, just so that I can kind of, pick and choose what I actually like. Here's a patch bay. This is kind of the brains of a recording studio. I guess maybe more like the veins of a recording studio, because this is kind of what sends audio all around. And I know it kind of looks like a tumbled mess, and you'll see a worse one later. But it's, again, your job as an audio engineer to know what each cable does and be able to pull one out and be like, I understand why this is patched this way and why it's routed that way. Here's another drum set, and as you can see, it's a different set, a different sound. It was for a different kind of genre being recorded, and you gotta work with that and be like, a metal drum set miking technique is not going to sound good on an indie pop track, and you gotta make those changes so that it fits the genre that you're recording and gets across what the musicians want to get across. Here's the more tangled mess. This is a busier set, and it's again your job to know what that is. That day I could grab a chord and be able to tell you exactly what it was doing and why I had it that way. you know Here's a different one. I was talking earlier about being exposed to different genres, and the pieces that I played were more contemporary, but this was a more kind of classical style piece. Clarinet, oboe, harp, violin, and upright bass. you're gonna get exposed to a lot more and really kind of open your mind to, appreciating the good in all music genres. Here's a bigger one, bigger set, a lot more mics. And as you can see in the center, there's that mic that's kind of pointed at the ceiling, or at least that upper wall there above that lip. And again, it's all about experimenting and trying out new things and being like, does this work? Do I like this? Does this sound good for the style and the music that's being recorded? And, we were sitting in the recording booth and said, what if we just put a mic all the way up? Because this is a jazz band. They want to be, sound lively and sound present and kind of like they're playing the music right in front of you whenever you listen to this track that we're recording. And so we captured some of the room sound all the way up there and blended that in to make it sound a little bit more like, these people were playing it in the room with you when you're just listening to it on headphones months after it recorded. And here is some more experimenting with violin placement. We had an orchestra coming in, so we asked the person that we knew playing violin to come in and we could mess around and see what kind of mics sound good on it, before the orchestra came in. And that's the last thing. I mean, I'll reiterate it again and again. Being an audio engineer is a very technical job, but it's a very creative one as well. And you get to work with a lot of amazing people and create a lot of amazing art with those people. And it's kind of a little bit of an invisible job, but it's one that, they can't get their ideas from their head to the phone on Spotify, on Apple Music, on Tidal, whatever you use, without the help of an audio engineer. And it's your job to help fulfill that creative vision of these people and to be a part of it and to, become a part of that process. So I hope you guys learned something and are interested in doing this kind of work now. Bye.